Welcome to another stock market update. Today is August 11, 2017. Hopefully you did not get spooked this week. If you have watched the last two market update video that I put out, you would have been alert to the potential of what have taken place this particular week. Right? We had a end of July video that sort of indicating that the market has raised a cautionary flag to tell us to start being cautious. And then last week we had a video that title has the stock market top, and we look at various signs for clues to get a definitive answer to that question, which we did not. But what we got was a lot of signs that pointing to a pullback or some kind of correction in the area of 5 to 7% is possible in the near term. So that's basically what we have saw this week. And before we look at the individual indexes, let's go and take a look at this particular chart here with the SP500 and the VIX. And as you can see, the VIX finally got elevated to a level that get the market all wound up and get the bear all excited. Right? So anyway, it did came off the low. Last video we were saying that it was below 10, and now is back above 15. Okay, so we probably will see this thing go a little bit higher before it come back down. And right now, because of the escalation between rhetoric among the president and North Korea, so there's still a lot of uncertainty there, and uncertainties create fears. And that's what's gonna continue to hold the VIX at a elevated level, right? And in the meantime, the market will chop around in a downward trend to do its thing to correct itself, right? And maybe we will see that 5 to 7% correction that we haven't seen for quite a while. Okay, so looking at the VIX is up, and we're seeing the advanced decline is pulling back, and we did see some negative divergence on that as the Dow made a new high, and even the S&P closed at a new high here on August the 8th, which the Dow also made a new high on that particular day. So I'm just going to switch over to that chart here, so you can see that the Dow Jones Industrial also made a new high. But you can see that if you inspect the advanced decline closely, you will see that the that advanced decline was actually negative. There were more declining issues than advancing issue for that particular day. So that's a negative divergence, and typically when that occurs, it's another sign to warn us a pullback is coming. Okay, and indeed it came. So let's take a look at the individual indexes. Here on the Dow Jones Industrial, we see the all-time high now is 22,179.10. Okay, so you can see that after that reversal day on Tuesday, we got a gap down, and then on Thursday we got a big sell-off, and then today we got an inside day. So we've the market, the Dow Jones filled this gap here. All right, so it filled this gap, and right now is working on filling this particular gap. So most likely next week we'll probably see it come down, and maybe start working on this gap if it doesn't fill this gap. And the key level that we want to keep an eye on in the coming week would be 21,467.90. that would be this particular gap here and this pivot lows. Want to see could we get some sort of a bounce here, and see how that bounce will look like, because it will tell us, are we going to see the market coming down to test this level, essentially this 21,070.90, getting back down to the 21,000 area. Okay, so that is the key level to keep an eye on. Now, if it could bounce back up, then the resistance will definitely be this all-time high level. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that. But right now, I think the trend is more biased toward the downside. And if we take a look at the Dow Jones, let's go and take a look at this chart here, the Dow Jones Industrial and the Dow Jones Transportation, or good old Dow theory chart here. So you can see the transportation is, well, you could say it's trying to make a little bit of a double bottom here, while the Dow Jones is coming down. So we'll keep an eye on it to see would it be able to get above this level here, the transportation 9,239.30. So we want to see could it get back above this level, and see how the Dow react as is the transportation make its way back up. And if it cannot continue to recover and break this pivot low down here, then we probably be looking at it to get back down to the base there. So if we get below 9,111 or so, then we probably be looking at this level here, down at the 8,744.36. Okay, so that's basically what we probably will be looking at. And going back to look at the indexes, looking at the S&P 500, you see the S&P 500 on Tuesday, along with the Dow, spiked up, tagged the all-time high, but unable to close at an all-time high, and then pull back. And right now, we're essentially looking at the possibility of this thing coming down to fill this gap here. And the gap low here is the 2,435.75. Let me put a level up here so we could kind of got a label on that here. Okay, 2435.75, and that's the level there to enter the gap. And once this gap gets filled, then we'll be looking at this level here for potential support, which would be 2,405.70. Right, so we're going to look at that, and if that then again, we're going to see how this thing will bounce here before we start monitoring this level here, the 2352.72. Okay, so that's the S&P 500, and here's the NASDAQ 100. The NASDAQ 100, it did get a spike up, but note that it did not get up to the all-time high level that it put in on July the 27th, which is 5994.02. Right now, it came. It tried to come back up to this pivot low here of 5,847.05. So we're going to keep an eye on to see would it be able to get back up here, up above this pivot low. Chances are we're going to see it to come down and probably fill this gap here, down here at the 5749.05. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye for that thing to come down and fill this gap. Then the key level that we want to watch for the support is 5568.47. Okay, that's for the NASDAQ 100. And then for the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000, again, remember we got that channel there, booked this pivot low here. Essentially, it was this, let me get a little box here. Okay, that's not going to work. Let me do this. Take out the snap, And essentially we're talking about this box, right? Okay, let me get this thing here. All right, so that's this box here and the trading band. All right, this trading area here, and it broke out of this band and came up to this record territory and tagged the channel upper trend line. Then it pulled back. Right now it's down at the lower channel trend line. So we're going to see if we'll be able to get back into that channel. And if we can't, then here's the level that we're going to keep an eye on, 1351. And then the basically this gap fill here is also this pivot low somewhere around here, would be 1334. All right, so those are the two levels to keep an eye on the downside for the near term. All right, because we also got some level down here that we're keeping an eye on. But right now, we're essentially looking for these two levels right now. And then if we take a look at the ETF, for example, in the Spider ETF, let me zoom this in so we can see a little bit more clear on some of the near-term candles. So right now we're looking for the possibility of getting this entering this gap here to do the gap fill at 243.26, no, 0.20. Right, yeah, 0.20, and come down to this 239.96. Right, so 239.96 and 245. I mean 240. Right, somewhere around there for the near term. Then the other level is down here at 235.43. Okay, that's the SPY. And then here's the Q. Looking at the Q here, again, we also got a little bit of a price gap here at 139.90. So essentially somewhere around that 140. So we're looking for that gap to come down to fill that gap. It is trying to get back to up above this pivot at 142.20. So that will basically the resistance that the near-term resistance that we'll be watching. This resistance here, we're going to see how we're going to get up there and what will it do once it get up there. Okay, so but again, the trend right now is biased toward the downside. So we'll be monitoring this gap fill and this potential pivot low here for support, this 135.80. Right? And then the IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF. So again, you can see that it just kind of sitting on that trend line here at the lower trend line of this price channel. So what we are seeing, watching the level is 134.23, and then we also got this low level here in this price gap, which is 131.89. Right? If we want to get back up above this pivot low, then this basically acts as a potential resistance, which is 139.01. So essentially the 139. And the all-time high, let me put up the all-time high here. Right, the all-time high is 144.20. Okay, so that's the index, and let's go and take a look at some of the stock here, and let's take a look at Apple. Zoom this in. Okay, see Apple, we're talking about this particular earning gap here, right? This pivot low. We're saying if it come back into this earning gap, the chances are good that it's going to fill this this gap here. And you can see that it came in and found a little bit of a support and went back above it, and actually went up and put a new all-time high at 161.83. Then the sell-off came on Tuesday, and it dragged it down on Thursday, even though Wednesday it actually did pretty good. went back up. For a time being, it was I think the market was even thinking that it might go and take out the all-time high. But on Thursday, it gave it all back and plus more, and actually it came back down. So into the gap here. So right now we're essentially looking at this inside day candle here that it printed today on Friday, August 11. What we're going to be watching is break below this engulfing candle here, this 154.63. Then we're basically looking at this gap coming down to this gap level somewhere around this 150.22. If it breaks above this candle here, then we're basically looking at the all-time high get retested. So this range here, that Thursday's range, will be the key level to watch. Okay, and here's Facebook. Again, Facebook also was saying that need to try to hold the earning gap, and right now it seems to try to hold it above the earning gap. So we're going to see is it going to be able to come back up to this level at 173.05, and if it could get above that, then the all-time high could be back in play. But if it dipped below, and note the yesterday, Thursday, and today, Friday, the low is the same as 166.85. So if the price break below 166.85, then chances are we'd be looking at this gap to get filled, which will be down at 166.01. Okay, but if it come up and take out this high here, which is 170.59, then we'd be watching for this particular high, 173.05, as potential resistance. Okay, and if it break this, fill this gap, break below this level, then there's another gap down here that we'd be watching for Facebook to come down and possibly fill this gap. So the key support level is way down here at 144.42. All right, so that's the key support level. But of course, we also have another support level up here. Right, this pivot high here, which would be somewhere, essentially this gap here at 156.20. Okay, and Netflix. Okay, Netflix. It held the earning gap for a while, came up, put in a new all-time high of 191.50. A lot of people is talking about going to 200 and so forth, and but as it turned out, that's not the case, at least not now, for now. So it came back down, and right now it's trending down, and it got back into this earning gap. So right now it's probably be coming down and test this pivot high here, this 166.87. And again, today printed an inside day. So we'll be looking at this range. Thursday range will be the level to watch. If it break above the high, which is 174.45, then we'll be watching it to come back up and fill this gap and potentially work itself up to this resistance level at 182.27. If it take out the low on this range, then we basically, the low is 167.60. Then we'd be watching this resistance level get tested, and if can't hold, then most likely it will come down and fill this gap. Because right now, looking at it, if it breaks below this this low, chances are it will most likely come down and fill this gap. And once this gap filled, then we have to keep an eye on this potential support level at 144.25. And here's Amazon. Amazon, we actually got a little bit of a sort of like a flag here. If I me put this. Oops, got the wrong things there. Maybe I want to kind of highlight a little box here. All right. Okay. So essentially, basically measuring this box for the brick, and if you note that, let me put that as a rectangle. If you take a closer look at this candle here, this is a engulfing candle of engulfing this inside day. Although it made a little bit of a penetration below that low on this candle and then went back in, so it's actually got a little bit of a coiling effect here before it actually broke below this this low here, right, this box. And once it broke, like on Thursday it came down, and today it came down to this pivot and got a bounce off of it. So we're gonna see, would it be able to get back above this level here. If we could get above this level here, somewhere around 1003, then we might see it come up and fill this gap. But if it dipped below this level, this pivot here, then we're going to be keeping an eye on this particular pivot low at 927. Okay. And here is Tesla. Right. Tesla, you can see that we're talking about, last time we look at Tesla, we're talking about the potential to come up and fill this gap. Right. If it take out of this pivot and work itself up. And essentially we also was looking at a trend line here, right? I mean a price channel of some sort, and a bear flag, and it broke, but that was a false break, and then it came back up, right? So kind of trapped on the this is the earning gap, right? So kind of caught a lot of the bear down here and squeeze them up, right? So right now we're essentially watching this level here at 371.35. See what to be able to get back above that. If it could get above that, then we essentially looking for the all-time high to get tested, which is up at 386.69. But if it is unable to get above that, then we'll be looking at it to come back down, fill this gap here, and eventually work itself down to this level at somewhere around $303.13. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on Tesla. Now let's take a look at gold. I don't want to look at GLD. I put up the GLD because there's just too many gaps there, right? So I'd like to look at the gold future. I think it's much more cleaner, right? So here's the chart of the gold future, and as you can see, right, we got a little bit of a potential resistance up here at 1305.80. Right, we're watching that 1300 level. Remember this chart here we put out, and we're watching this trend line here. This is a multi-year trend line, and you can see that it broke that trend line. All right, so right now we're essentially looking for above this 1300 or so, and here is the supporting trend line. So this is a major break, and we're basically looking at continuation of this move into gold. But again, you don't want to chase gold up here. Let it break and pull back, then we look for trade location here. Okay, so that's the update for this week, and hopefully your account did not get too much of a damage this week, and just stay cautious. We still got some turbulence coming to, and like I said in the past, cash is a position, so it's nothing wrong with moving to the sideline. So have a nice weekend, and good luck with your trading. If you like what you see in this video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe to this video channel. Thank you.